Hello, in this video I have a game to show you in my New York, which is the Tier 5 American battleship that I recently got, well fairly recently, about a month ago now. And you might remember from the last time I put up a video about New York that it's a ship that I've been doing pretty consistently in. I generally do between 40, or let's say 35 and 65,000 damage. Winning and losing's roughly 50-50. It's just kind of average. I think partly the reason is because it's just a kind of average ship. It's got 10 14-inch guns, but turret number 3 has got pretty horrible firing arcs, at least to the front. So it's really kind of 8 14-inch guns, or maybe 8.5. But you can still do a fair bit of damage, as that poor South Carolina's about to find out. Felt a bit bad shooting at a Tier 3 battleship, but it was the only one in range at that particular moment of time. I got 3 hits. And in a second you'll see it pop back up, minus a few thousand hit points. So there we go. Yeah, it's taking a fair bit of damage from that broadside from me. Another problem with New York, other than it's really kind of got 8 guns as opposed to 10, is that it's actually got a 33-second reload, and between the two of them it just doesn't actually have that high damage output. You see me, I've decided to shoot at the Wyoming, just because I was feeling bad at shooting at South Carolina, so I switched to the ship behind it, even though that was kind of the wrong decision to do. I feel bad for that South Carolina. 4 hits, 8,300 damage. So, it can't be that wrong if you do that much damage. It looks like we have some torpedo bombers coming in. So I start turning into them just in case they are coming for me, and anti-aircraft guns are up and firing away. But no, they're going for that Wyoming in front of me, who doesn't seem to want to dodge. Okay, I mean, why would you dodge torpedoes? But anyway, at least I didn't take any damage, also didn't shoot them down, but oh, there's a Kuma, broadside on. My guns are reloaded, but the Kuma's going to take some torpedoes, so I don't bother firing. And Miyogi, possibly. The Wyoming is more broadside on, so I'm more likely to penetrate the Wyoming there. Decide to fire turret 3 at the Miyogi. No, I just swung my ship around. I was swinging my ship back so I can fire turret 3. Oh, did 10,000 damage to that Wyoming. So, I'm doing pretty well so far. I've probably already done 20,000 damage, maybe even more than that. So yeah, good game so far. And well, the obvious thing to do here is to follow those other 2 battleships on my team around the outside of the map. But I actually don't like going on the outside of the map in the New York just because it is a slow battleship. I prefer to stay in the centre. And that's actually just far too passive for me to play. I don't really want to go out there, around the outside where I can see there's a Miyogi heading into the centre. So I decided to come into the centre as well to fight this Miyogi. My guns are reloaded, but only my forward turrets can fire since my rear turrets are facing the wrong direction. So send 4 shells its way, get 4 hits, no damage, all bounced. So that's a bit of a change from recent events. It's not often you get 100% accuracy from a broadside, and it's even less often that you get 100% accuracy and they all bounce. But as you saw, it does happen. Miyogi's firing at me, and well, it looked like it was firing a high explosive there. It did 3,700 damage, which isn't the end of the world. It is the first damage I've taken, but as I said, 3,700, it's going to take a long time to kill me if it's just in that rate. Find my forward turrets again. 3 hits, 5,500 damage, and something else hits the Miyogi hard, so it's left on only a tiny bit of health. And my rear guns are finally getting on target. And there's 6 shells its way, and I've switched to high explosive, and I've ordered my secondaries to fire away at this destroyer that's charging in at me. And yes, I did destroy that enemy battleship. So, 1 ship down. And secondaries on the New York, they aren't particularly great. It's mainly that there's very few of them, so I don't think they do any damage at all to this Nicholas. But in 10 seconds I'll have my shells reloaded, or I should say my guns reloaded with high explosive. And here we go. Fire off a broadside, and I'm going to have to eat a torpedo here.
Enemy severely damaged.
But I'm turning away from them, trying to swing my stern around. So I only take 2, and the high explosive shells I sent at that Nicholas managed to set it on fire, as well as doing a lot of damage. So I get the devastating strike medal for doing a lot of damage to it very quickly, and my second kill of the game. And just like that, I've basically won the centre of the map for my team. I mean, I can't take all the credit that Nicholas was already on half health, and someone did a lot of damage to that Miyogi before I could. But, well, I'll take some of the credit. I did get all the kills. So, Kuma to shoot it at long range with high explosive, but at least it gives me an opportunity to switch back to armor piercing. I can't really expect those to hit at that range. The Kuma should dodge those. Oh, okay. I got one hit, 1300 damage. That was a high explosive shell, so it did a fair bit of module damage. But, well, I see, I didn't expect any damage from that when I was just firing off my guns, mainly to put armor piercing in the breach. And here come some more torpedo bombers. Got friendly bombers circling above me as well. And I'm hoping this Wyoming will also come around the island. Oh, a Furutaka. Now, I like shooting at Furutakas because it's basically got the armour of a Kuma, but it's a lot less manoeuvrable and a, well, slightly bigger target. I'm also turning into the enemy torpedo bombers at the same time, and my AA guns have already managed to take one of them out. Two of them out now. Again, these torpedo bombers, they're fluffing around in front of me. It's happened to be a fair bit in games lately, but it looks like they're finally starting to come in. So I start swinging my ship around, and I easily managed to avoid them. But something, I believe it was the Kuma, managed to set me on fire there. And unfortunately that fire is going to burn for a long time since I've used my repair ability to put out the flooding from the Nicholas earlier. But I do get a chance to retaliate against the Kuma. But those are awful shots. I really should have done better than that. It was pretty obvious the Kuma was going to turn, and it already started turning when I fired. But, well, I fired and I shouldn't have. Sent off turret number 3, but no hits this time. So okay, just pushing forward through the centre of the map. There's an allied cruiser here with me now, but it's on pretty low health. And I'm not going to get another shot at the Kuma. Oh, that cruiser's dead. So I'm back to being here by myself now. Aircraft carrier to shoot at. The Kuma has come back around. So I suppose it's Kuma I'm going to have to shoot at here. Get my turrets on target, send the broadside off. If I say broadside, I skip turret number 3 because I don't want to be that broadside on. Well, really I just want to keep heading straight down towards the B capture point because that's where the enemy is. Oh, and the Wyoming's coming around the island. Gonna keep vaguely bow onto it, but start swinging my ship around to get my guns to bear. Unfortunately the Wyoming's not shooting at me, so I can actually go pretty broadside on in preparation for my guns being loaded. And it's turning away from me though, which means I'm not that likely to penetrate it here. But sent 8 shells its way, get 1-2 hits, do a little bit of damage. But like I say, couldn't really expect to penetrate it at that angle, or at least not a citadel penetration. Okay, 10 seconds, just swing the ship around, and well, it looks like the Wyoming's turning broadside onto me at under 8 kilometers range. It's really not something you want to do, Mr. Wyoming. And that's why, 2 citadel penetrations, and now it's dead. Enemy bombers are in the air, but they're not coming for me, they're heading off to the other 2 battleships, which are actually off to my left. We're basically in line abreast at this point, which is pretty good. We started off in line astern, but apparently my shortcut through the centre was enough to, well, for me to gain the distance, and also I did a little 360 turn as well. But we all got here at the same time. Oh, and there's that Kuma, very low health now. Send 8 shells its way, and only 2 are needed to sink it.
Enemy cruiser sunk.
And here comes some enemy torpedo bombers. Oh, the Furutaka is shooting at me. Furutaka won't be able to do that much damage to me though. Turned into the torpedo bombers, but this is going to be closer than last time. I shoot one of them down, but I'm going to have to take a torpedo here. Puts me back to 21, no, even less than that. 19,000 hit points. But the game's pretty well won for our team at this point. There's not very many enemy ships left. Send my two forward turrets off towards the Furutaka, but my rear guns aren't going to be on fire for a while until I swing my ship around. But the Furutaka is taking fire from a fair few places at this point. Well, it's basically the only ship left fighting on the enemy team, well, that's the destroyer, which you can see on the minimap, just off to my right. Fire my forward turrets again. And there we go. One shell's enough to sink it, and it gets me the Kraken Unleashed medal. So I decide now, I'm going to go in and fight this Clemson. And I decided to do it the opposite way that I dealt with Nicholas earlier, and that this time I'm going to charge right in and kill this guy. So I'm trying to swing my ship around, partly to throw off... I'm assuming it's firing torpedoes now. I want it to fire its torpedoes to my right. And there's the Furutaka's torpedoes coming in. And I can also give me the opportunity to fire off my guns. So it must have fired its torpedoes, well there goes some of them. Start swinging my ship in towards it to fire its next salvo, or to dodge its next salvo, but it's a bit late. And I take 2 hits I think there. And I'm flooding, and I'm on this tiny bit of health, and the Clemson finishes me off. So, yeah, don't do that if you're in a battleship. The way I engaged Nicholas earlier is the correct way to do it. You run away from them and try and use your range advantage to stay out of their torpedo range and just maneuver and do damage where you can. Charging them like that and closing distance actually works to that Clemson's advantage, but I've already got my Kraken Unleashed medal, we're already clearly going to win, and I don't really care that much. And I'm sure this St. Louis is about to avenge me. There you go. And now the only ships left on the enemy team are 2 aircraft carriers. Whereas we still have 2 cruisers, 2 battleships, and 2 aircraft carriers. So as I say, it's a pretty clear win for us. Although, yeah, it does take a bit of time. And that Wyoming that almost got hit, well, that take 3 torpedoes earlier, it almost gets torpedoes to death. The game ended just before it could die. But some people never learn to dodge torpedoes, as we watch an enemy aircraft carrier get destroyed, and my wreck almost get hit by torpedoes, but, well, I won't bother showing you the rest of it, it actually goes on for a fair while. But you see, 2,000 experience, 125,000 credits, top of my team. That New York who you just saw there was actually pretty close behind me in terms of points, even though I got 5 kills. But it's not that surprising when you look at this and see I only did 60,000 damage. Actually, I didn't do very much damage. As I say, I tend to do very consistently in this ship. And that one I just got lucky in that I managed to get the final shot on 5 enemy ships, but I didn't actually do that much damage. And you saw for a long time there, I was actually firing pretty much whenever I could, and I was, for the most part, landing a fair proportion of my shots. It was just a case of you shoot so few shells, or you fire so few shells, and they fire so slowly that it's actually very hard to do the massive games that I'm used to. I used to get in my Arkansas and the Wyoming where I do 100,000 damage. Just because, well, 12-inch shells firing every 30 seconds just do more damage than kind of 8 or 10, 14-inch shells every 33 seconds. And I think that's why I'm finding the New York to be such an average kind of ship. But I'll have to wait to play it some more, see if I can figure out a trick or two. And, well, yeah, hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.